all Ukrainians, they are risky and brave at the same time. So like in many cases, maybe because we are a very young country and we have our independence only like for 22 years. So it's actually a young country. And I think that we have this number of startups because we are very creative. So in all the things, all the time you need like to be very innovative, to do something, to grow. And I think it's something that in our blood, and that's why we have this many startups, and especially now, so we also have many meal tech startups. So it's developing very, very fast.
Hello and welcome to the Gross Profit Podcast. My name is James Kennedy. I'm the CEO and co-founder at procurementexpress.com. We take the hassle out of managing your company's purchasing with magical features, but we're not here to talk about that today. Instead, I've invited along Alyona Mysko from Fuelfinance.me to talk about her journey from finance to founder and how she has created her own business related to fractional CFO as well as technology-based services. I think we could call it productized service almost. So Alyona, thanks very much for coming along today. Maybe you could just introduce yourself. Where in the world are you? And tell us a bit about your background.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. So I'm actually now in Ukraine, so where I'm from. So actually greetings from Ukraine and happy to be here and share all my insights and journey.
So let's go back. Did you train in Ukraine, Kyiv, is it, or in one of the other cities?
Yeah, I'm in Kyiv actually.
What did you do for education? Did you go to university, or what qualifications did you succeed with?
Yeah, I have like fully financial background, and I was always actually passionate about math and about chess, so all the things. I started actually to learn economics, I think from 13 years old. So it was like my passion from very early years. And yes, I have bachelor degree, and it's Ukrainian university, so Kyiv Mohila Academy, and I also have like MA degree in Kyiv School of Economics. So, and I was an auditor at PwC. So actually, I have this like full financial journey starting like very, very early.
Not many 13-year-olds I know are interested in economics. Where did that come from? What made you interested in the way money works?
Maybe because I had very good teachers in my life, and especially like all these teachers, they were like the greatest in corporate finance or in economics. So I remember that I had a teacher in economics at macro and microeconomics who actually had her own business. And she was like explaining, like in a very practical way how all the things work and in a very funny way. Or I also had a great professor in corporate finance who actually explained theory and all the things and economics like with Simpsons. So I was in love with like how they did that and how they were passionate about what they're doing. And I think it was a huge inspiration for me. And another point was I always was interested about like data. And one of my teachers, he has worked with banks a lot and analyzing like their data and how they can use this data for all projections. So and he shared like all these cases and case studies with me. And I also took part a lot. So there are like some competitions, like they usually organized by big three companies, by McKinsey or Bain, and they do this like case competitions. And I took part with my friends all the time in this like case competitions when you have like real business case study and you need to solve some problem. For example, I don't know, how to improve like profitability for the company. And you solve this problem with your friends like in 3 days, day and night, you do these things and try to solve this problem and present like this problem and solution. So that's actually like how I think why I was so inspired. So I had actually great teachers and they were a great inspiration for me. And after that, like all this like teamwork, all these competitions, all the things. So, and I saw like from the early age, I saw like real cases, very business, very practical. And that's how I understood, okay, so I like math, I like game theory. So I can somehow like connect it with finance in the future, so in more practical way. So that's how I think all the things started.
Interesting. So you like chess, you like data. You weren't tempted to go the other way, turn to the dark side and be a programmer. What made you pick finance?
I think, like, on another hand, I am a very creative person. So I was always, like, interested. I don't know, like, I was a painter, or like I played in theater. So I don't know. I think that being a programmer, it's mostly about, like, being connected with numbers. But I always, I think, was inspired also by connecting with other people, and, like, I don't know, combine this, like, finance data with some creative stuff. So I think that's why I decided that maybe being programmer or like scientist person is not for me. So I had, like, before doing my MA, so I was thinking about like PhD, and while I was already on PhD during the first months, and I decided, oh my gosh, no, it's not for me. I should change it. And actually, I changed the program to the business program from PhD. So that's actually, I understood very fast that I need like some more practical, I need interaction with people. And I also got like much inspiration from other people. So I can't live without that.
Maybe we lost one of the good ones to finance from programming, but that's okay. We can work around that. So you obviously had this entrepreneurial sort of itch, let's call it, and you were inspired by I guess these were small businesses that were surrounding you, or medium-sized businesses, through your teachers. It's not immediately obvious why you would join a massive business like PwC as an auditor then. What was the thinking? Was like, anyone give me a job, or was there a strategy there? What did you learn from it?
I think, like all financial people, and when I talk like with other CFOs or like financial analysts or financial experts, I think we all have, like this thought when you study like finance that you want to work in big three or in big four company. So you have this, like, I think these companies, they have very strong, I don't know, like marketing and connection with universities, and you like hear a lot about them, and you think, oh my gosh, I need to work there. And like it was like some, like some goal, and I'm happy that I did that because I learned a lot. So it was like actually a fast way how it was possible to work with huge banks or huge companies and like have access to their data, analyze like their financial statements and all the things. But what I understood actually very fast is that it's very boring and you need like to do like very manual job. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, what? And I remember my conversation with my coacher in PwC, and I asked, okay, so I can do that and that, so I can do even more. So I had like double and triple promotions, but I still understood that I need to spend like 5 years, even like with all like double promotions, to get some interesting, like, job in this company. And it was like, oh my gosh, now I can't spend like 5 years just to like get more interesting like tasks here. So I understood very fast that I need to change something, like I need more challenges, and like it's a little bit boring for me. And I even tried to work actually in different departments at PwC. So I was in taxes, I was in audit, I was even in consulting. So I expected that maybe like, changing like department, it will be like much more interesting and maybe faster, but not.
Okay, well, we have something in common you might not know about. Both our first jobs were in PwC, and
Oh,
although I was in a summer job there in London. And my impression there was I would hang out with the graduates coming in, and the strategy there seemed to be you get the very brightest people you can, and then you work them really hard, and then you see who's left, whoever's standing at the end of it and who can put up with it. But it seemed hard work and very competitive because you're already in with the top couple of percent of graduates, and then they're not shy about making sure that they get all the hours billed that they can, right?
yeah.
What was the one thing that you really are look back at and you're glad, hey, that was actually, you know what, I learned something really important here from my experience there? What was your biggest takeaway from working like with a big company like that?
The most interesting thing that I understood how big companies work. So you definitely remember that in PwC you need to add your hours, so how much hours you spend on each project, and that's how they build like their pricing for all like their projects. And it's not a secret that usually like when they plan less hours, so it means that like when you like work more, so it's not like somewhere, so you can't add like this hours, for example, I don't know, like to your the sheets when you complete them. But actually the most insightful for me was that like in order to understand like your pricing strategy and in order to actually calculate your cost for different projects, you need to build like these hours. I think that was like the most insightful thing for me. And we actually work a lot, not just like with startups. We have agencies as our customers, and we work mostly like with US agencies. And when I talk with them and say like, hey guys, you should plan your capacity, so, or you should plan your hirings, and you need to understand like how much time your team members like they spend on different projects, because you need to understand like your profitability per each project. That's a huge insight for them. And I think that's like, was for me a great insight from PwC, that like these big companies, they use some very cool instruments in their finance and how they do that inside. And that's what's I think huge inspiration for me, like how to bring this knowledge, like that all big companies know, like how to bring them to smaller businesses. It's the coolest thing from working PwC, so that I understood a lot about like how you manage company and business, like huge business, and what you can bring, like, like from this knowledge from huge businesses to smaller businesses. So I think that's like what we want to do also at Fuelfinance. So we have this knowledge, like, how like big companies work, and we want like to provide this knowledge to small businesses so they can do better, like knowing all these instruments and insights.
Technology is a piece of that, in that it used to be you would have to buy SAP and God knows, and Oracle and all these giant systems in order to instrument your business properly. And now there are SaaS platforms like Procurement Express and others that can help you to get the data together. And I know, data and visualizing stuff is a big part of Fuelfinance. But before we just get onto that, so where did you start looking for your inspiration as to what to do next?
I was actually looking for some challenges, and I understood that maybe like with small, medium businesses, I can have some challenges. And I got actually an offer from construction company to be like their financial analyst, but they didn't have CFO and they had only accountant. And they said me, so like can you be like our financial analyst? Like we need financial model, financial system, financial reports, so we need like to build that from scratch. And I was like, okay, it's a great challenge, so I can do that. That's interesting. And that's, I think, how all the things started, because these investors, so these founders of this construction company, they actually were founders in many businesses around the world, and they started to manage all other finances, and they invested in many startups. So I started also to analyze financial models of different startups, and like it was a journey where like I found myself in several years that I also like helping all my friends founders to manage their finance, to build like their financial systems, and built like hundreds of financial models. And yeah, that's like after that I already understood that, okay, that seems like I can do business from that. So what I can do here, what I can automate and create like maybe something new on the market.
Okay, I'm feeling nervous for you at this stage of the story, because startups are horrible customers because they have no money and they go out of business. But tell me first, what's the startup scene like in Kyiv? Like, are there meetups? If I went there on a Thursday evening, would I be able to find like groups to join, or what's the entrepreneurship scene like?
I don't know, like if you know that, for example, Grammarly or Preply, they are all Ukrainian startups. And actually, we have a great ecosystem. And I heard one time that if you have, like, for example, at least like 3 unicorns from one country, they boost like startup community a lot. And that's like how all this like startup community work in Ukraine. So we have plenty of startups, and like Reface and Grammarly and Preply and Drasix and Badcube and like many others. And we have like many of them are YC alumni. And actually like that's how I see like our startup ecosystem in Ukraine. So it's definitely like it's not the case where we have like offices, so many people work remote, and already many teams I know that they are like international, so they hire people around the world. But many of them still have offices in Ukraine, in Kiev, and yeah, that's like how the system works. So I think that we have many great startups in Ukraine, but in many cases, no one knows that it's, for example, Ukrainian startup.
Can I ask you a cultural question? What's making Ukraine special? There's lots of countries, that want to have a startup ecosystem. Would you say there's anything in the culture that makes you guys believe you can create a unicorn where everyone else gives up?
I think that, like all Ukrainians, they are risky and brave at the same time. So, like in many cases, maybe because we are a very young country, and actually, like we have our independence only like for 22 years, so it's actually a young country. And I think that we have this number of startups because we are very creative. So in all the things, all the time, you need like to be very innovative to do something, to grow. And I think it's something that in our blood, and that's why we have this many like startups, and especially now. So we also have many meal tech startups. So it's developing very, very fast. So that's like also crazy. And I think like another question that we have many developers. I don't know, like if you know that, for example, Calendly, so it's well-known startup. This founder actually started Calendly in Ukraine, in Kiev, and this product was developed by Ukrainian engineers. And I know many other companies which actually like have engineers in Ukraine. So that's, I think, maybe also because of this factor we have so many startups.
Well, the word that rang out to me there is bravery. It's maybe not cool to talk about bravery. It's kind of, I don't know, machoistic or something. But like, I think bravery as a virtue is basically what entrepreneurs need to do. They need to do the unproven, the thing with uncertain outcomes. And effectively, that's what it's the people who are brave enough slash delusional enough to do it are the ones. So, okay, I'm going to take that away. I'm going to say Ukrainians are brave. That's why they're successful in the startup ecosystem. So you started, sounds like you were going to these meetups, you're meeting people, you're jamming startup ideas in the bars at night, and they start to ask you questions and you start to do pitch decks by the sounds of it, try to help people. And tell me about your first client. It's all very easy to be nice, the good guy in the room and just help people out. But who was the first person you charged for work, and what was the moment you realized, hey, I can actually get paid for this?
That's actually a great story. That's a story how I met my co-founder. So actually like PetCube, so one of Ukrainian, but it's mostly actually US startup because they are YC alumni and they already like 10 years on the market. So I remember that my friend made this intro. So I was like experimenting with like Google spreadsheet system, and then understood that financial system and financial management can be automated. And I started, like with this no-code solution with some examples of Google spreadsheet system. And my friend made an intro and said, I have a friend who is like CEO at PetCube and they need financial system and they need upgrades. So maybe you should talk with him. And I remember when we met like with Yaroslav, who was at that time, he was CEO at PetCube, and we discussed like the system and I show like what I have. So I want to try, and maybe like it's like MVP, but I want to see like how it works. And we agreed that like, yeah, I will implement the system with our small team. We will implement it at PetCube. And we already like started to build. So it was like small price, but it was experiment for both of us.
You don't want anyone to know, right? You're embarrassed now. You don't want the word to get out what you were willing to work for.
I can't remember. It was like something, I don't know, $400 per month or something like that. So it was like, like very small price for a huge system and for a huge company who has like hardware and like daily unit economics and all this stuff. So it's actually a huge system. And yeah, I remember that like when we started, so we implemented the system and we connected all executive team members to plan actual analysis, to daily unit economics. And they started to be profitable in 5 months. And that was a goal for them. And after that, I remember Yaroslav said, okay, it works great. So, and how you will scale that? So, like, how it can work like in other companies. And I remember that he started, like, first of all, being our advisor, and because he had experience of fundraising before that, and building already startups before. And yeah, we started actually to develop like this product and challenge ourselves how we can grow that, what can be from that, how we can see like how it works in other companies. So after that, so we started to focus on that, already add some code integrations, building backend around the system. So, like I don't know, converting this MVP to some normal scalable product. So that's how the thing started. And yeah, it was our first customer who actually tried this like Google spreadsheet system automation.
Okay, so it sounds what I call like a Wizard of Oz strategy, where you you make it happen behind the curtain, not necessarily all that
Yes.
elegant, but you do the hard work, and then you replace it with code and systems as you go on to try and be able to scale beyond, a couple of customers. And sounds like you don't bill by the hour. So it sounds like your experience in PwC maybe has come back to haunt you, and you're saying, no, well, actually, you know what? That's not necessarily value. I'd rather have a fixed
Yeah.
price. Would you describe the business as a product-sized service? Like, is it a service or is it a product? What it sounds like it's a mixture of the two.
Yeah, it's actually a mix of two because we have the strategy. So we think about like what we do. We use like this pyramid, and every financial expert, financial person, financial teams, they have this manual work on different levels. I don't know, starting from accounting and bookkeeping and ending with strategic finance. And what we do with our solution, so we replace this manual work step by step with a code. And it's still the values that real person brings actually to customers. So I see that talking to customers that they need this like person behind that. They need someone to ask this question. So it's not like we are not there where like it's full credibility to financial software. So you always have some doubts, and you need like to have this person to ask if it works correct, or what is there, or can you explain how I can read these numbers. So this is like strategic level of finance, and that's like why I believe CF4 like can't be replaced in the nearest future with AI or some other solutions. But all the manual work, which is like done, like you do the same job all the time from month to month to week to week. So you collect the data, transform the data to insights. So that's something that we have to make just like step by step. But we also provide this person who talk with you, with whom you can like schedule calls, who can explain you how all the things works, who can give you recommendations.
In terms of growing your business, what has been your sort of channel for finding new customers?
We are focusing a lot on this content creation part, and I think that this is the most valuable what we do for all our audience, for our leads. And we also do partnerships. So we create, I don't know, different Google spreadsheet templates. They are free. Or for example, we create different cheat sheets or knowledge or videos. Or like, for example, we created free Bootstrap product. So that's something how we bring value to the ecosystem, to all other entrepreneurs and founders. And when they already feel that something more than all this like free stuff, so after the early stages, they become our customers. And also like we partner with VC, we partner with accounting companies, with CPAs, with everyone who already like have the same audience as we have, but they like provide some other like services.
What I heard there was relationships is a good part of it, like meeting people through their networks and then contributing content marketing, I guess, giving stuff away. I'm still a little bit worried for your startup target market that you're going for here. But so let me bring it on. So now I'm going to ask a super unfair question. Who's your favorite customer and why? And yes, there are all the other customers are going to find out. So
it's unfair. I love all our customers. So like I can't like answer that I love some customers.
I gotta call you right there. Nobody loves all of their customers, right? I'll tell you straight. Okay, so let me ask you. I shouldn't let you off the hook like this, but let's say, what are the attributes? So think about your favorite customer. What are the attributes that make them your favorite customer? Because I know you're thinking of the favorite one right now. I know you know who it is, right? And just tell me Tell me why they are the ones that you'd like to have 10 more of.
I think that our favorite customers who are open to give the most feedback for us.
Okay.
So I think like customers from whom we learn a lot. I think this part in your product is not convenient. Like, can you change it like for that, or like can you improve that? Or I think like I want to compare that and that features. And I think these customers like are the most valuable to develop our product, and we learn a lot, and that's a great speed and great collaboration. And I think they also value from our side like how fast we change these things for them. So if they say something like today, tomorrow we already will change it for them. So I think that's maybe not like about favorite. I think the most valuable type of customers.
I have to admire that answer because it is very easy, and I'm going to admit something here, is to see customers as problems, right? So, but to have an attitude that where helpful feature suggestions are actually the thing that will drive your business, it's good to maintain that approach. And I'll be honest, it's easy sometimes to flip the other side and just say, God, stop coming up with all the ideas. I haven't even fixed the last thing,
Yeah.
So I'll check back in with you in a year to see if you still have that attitude. So tell us where you are right now. How many customers have you got, and where are they geographically, business-wise? What sort of sectors are they in?
We have now 60 customers, and with all of them, we have subscription basis. Most of them are US customers, as I mentioned. So we work with small, medium businesses. So most of them actually have the revenue starting like from several $1 million per year to $20-30 million per year. So that's like our customers. And we work a lot actually with, I think, the most popular category. So it's actually B2B model. So B2B SaaS business model, I think the most popular among our customers.
So Al, this has been really fun. Before we wrap it up, I have a question which I ask everyone as a tradition here on the podcast, which is, who would you say is your business hero and why?
So I think I have two. So the first one will be Ryan Chesky from Airbnb. I was inspired by his talk on one conference, and it was a very honest talk about like this and how to overcome crisis in the business, and like how you should be a great leader, and actually on the other hand, so how you should manage finance in a crisis period. So it was very honest talk from him, and I was like very impressed how he opened like to share these things. And the second one, I think, Top Avadana from Calendly, and it was like also a great inspiration because he was bootstrapping for a very long period of time before he raised a serious like already funding from VC. So I am always impressed by all bootstrapping companies, how they do this job and how it's possible to, like have this way of thinking that you bootstrap and after that you raise money when your valuation already is so high and you like can choose from whom you can raise. So that's actually also the point why I'm so inspired by like Calendly founder.
So, I've met lots of CFOs. CFOs are different shapes and sizes. Some of them are faith-based. Some of them have a military background. Some of them have a M&A and PE and mergers and stuff. And you're clearly in the camp of someone who's passionate about new businesses and startup businesses, God forbid, bootstrap businesses, which is in any subsection of startup businesses, the bootstraps are got to be the absolute worst because they have even less cash than the rest of them. But Alyona's poor market choice could be your advantage if you are, in fact, a bootstrap startup listening to this and you've got this far. Congratulations. How could people reach out to you if they fit that profile and they think you might be the partner to help bring their finances to the next level?
I'm always open and always answer on all messages on my LinkedIn, or like you can write me just alyona.fuelfinance.me. So actually at fuelfinance.me. So on my email, I also happy to answer. So in any way, which is most convenient. So happy to connect all the time. Yeah, I'm also pretty open to jump on a call and help other founders with my insights or like my knowledge. So if I can help with that, so I think that's something like you can also expect from me if we already connected with you. So we'll be happy to meet more founders, more partners, more financial experts.
Yeah, great. And I can back that up. Al has already given us a few tips and helps for stuff already before the call. And I can definitely vouch for her interest in helping businesses genuinely. So that's cool. So if you are a fractional CFO and you've got this far into the call and you have a niche that you're passionate about, I would love to talk to you also and have you on the podcast, help you grow your business and help to shine a light on what you can help others with. You can contact me at james.kennedy@procurementexpress.com. If you're not, you should be on our newsletter. You can go to procurementexpress.com/newsletter, sign up, make sure you never miss an episode, which you would not need to do. So that's it. Listen, Al, you've been fantastic. Thank you very much for joining the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.